You're now tuned in to Sliders Podcast. I'm your host, who is Taff. Find out on the pod, but not today. Today we've got a special guest to find out. And who's hosting as well?
You've got myself, Beanie Man Mo, but let's hear about the man of the hour.
Man of the world.
Come on.
I don't know if it'll be an hour. Whatever time we have before.
Okay, Taff. Okay.
We had to book him out for this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, my name's Zaru, aka Zaru, aka ZARUIAM,
Wow.
aka part-time pastor, part-time Taff hater, part-time philanthropist. Yeah. This guy.
Alrighty then. Would you like to give us an introduction as to who you are, what you study, and so on?
So currently, I'm a third year engineering student. I study electrical and electronic engineering at Newcastle. Came today on the podcast. They had to book me, but thankfully I made it in time.
Yeah.
I had to come to talk about my course, hopefully give some insight to students that want to come here about the experience, really.
So firstly, you said electrical engineering. To me, I hear about, the mechanical engineering is probably, from what I assume to be the most popular one. So why pick electrical?
So originally, my plan wasn't even to go into engineering. It was accounting because my dad did accounting-related course. And I had a thing, I looked up to him, so I wanted to do whatever he did. This was around year 8, year 9. But then I came to like a crossroads at year 11, work experience time, I would say.
Yeah.
So where they told us you had to find work experience, find somewhere, stay for a week or two and gain some good experience that could help you gain insight into what career you want to go into. So at the time, I didn't know. So my mom said, oh, engineering this, that. Obviously, I had other plans. I'm glad they didn't work out. But
Wait, what were those other plans?
Yeah.
no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So like, I think she said gave the option engineering, accounting, whatever. So I said, I've always been looking at accounting. I heard of engineering, but I said, let me just look into engineering. Let me just go for a different experience. So I ended up choosing engineering, and my mum happened to know someone that worked in Network Rail. So now Network Rail, what they do, they work with the railway, of course, for London transport. And they also have a sector that works on that signals and communications, which I happen to be planning to do a master in this next year. So I ended up going into Network Rail, spent a week or two with the engineers there, shadowed them, went on site, saw how they worked physically and on the computer, and kind of got really interested in the world of work for engineering. That led me to choosing engineering obviously I've had more work experience since then, but that was the kickstart, I would say.
Is there any specific reason you chose Newcastle, by the way?
So my first choice was Nottingham, my second choice was Newcastle. So I missed out on a grade. I was supposed to get an A, I think, in physics, and I didn't get an A, I got a B. So I had to come here, unfortunately.
Yeah, physics.
Unfortunately.
Well, it's still fortunate, but unfortunately.
Hey man, God has
You
his
know
plan.
why you're going to Notting Hill, fam?
Nottingham.
Not
Is that the one with Cardi?
No.
Oh!
I was thinking about I thought it had Cardi.
Notting Hill's in London.
So in your lecture rooms, would you say it's a very diverse course? What are the demographics, gender, race-wise? Like, what's it like?
Obviously, in my opinion, it's always going to be male-dominated because of the nature of the course. Just STEM subjects in general. Obviously, there's like I would say, 10% female for my course. For other subjects, I would say it's like a bit higher, maybe for outside of engineering, but from what I've seen mostly for engineering, especially electrical and electronic, it's like 10% at most female. So you hardly see it. In terms of race or everything, it's quite a mix. I wouldn't say it's predominantly everything, but we have a lot of Asian, we have a lot of UAE people. So I would say,
okay.
Yeah, a lot of Asian people as well.
So when you were applying for a course, like you said, first choice was one uni, but you ended up coming here. But in terms of personal statement now, like, is there anything you felt you did different, or how did you tailor your personal statement?
Or to tailor it to engineering?
Yeah, and electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. So I drew a lot from my experience in world of work. When it pertains to work experience with Network Rail. And after Network Rail, I still didn't know exactly what engineering I wanted to go into. So I went to another work experience in London, I think in Park Lane. It's called Bechtel. they're like on oil and gas, but they also have electrical, mechanical, and other sectors as well. So I drew experience from those places and put them into my personal statement, along with other extracurricular activities I did. But I had to tailor it towards engineering in a way that even stuff like, basketball, I'll say, I developed teamwork and skills or something. And I'll say this would help me in a world of work because work in teams sort of thing.
Did you mention any books or anything like that you read and how they, I don't know, developed a...
So at the time, I wish I did, but I didn't read many books into engineering. I read a couple, not specific. Oh, okay. I read a couple, not specifically on engineering, but on like places that are full of engineers, like Silicon Valley, stuff like that.
Oh.
It wasn't specifically into what they do, but just how Silicon Valley arose, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any long-term goals in mind with your course and degree? Like, where do you see yourself after uni?
So as of now, I plan to venture into telecommunications. So I plan to go into companies that say like Ofcom or BT, specialize in managing networks or connections or stuff like 4G, developing 5G. I've heard of, they're doing 5G now.
Yeah.
And originally when I came to uni, I wanted to go into like more hardware, hands-on thing. But I kind of like got more interested in signals communications by doing the course. So it was a good thing that they had so many different courses in the sphere of electrical and electronic engineering, because it allowed me to gain even more insight again, allowed me to choose telecommunications, because originally it would have been like, I know that the sort of Silicon Valley stuff, like hardware sort of thing.
Could I ask, like, what's the job market like for telecommunications for anyone else that wants to go into that? Have you looked into that yet?
Yeah, so as of right now, obviously, because of COVID, the job network is terrible, but hopefully taking into account that COVID will go and it'll go back to normal in the foreseeable future. There's quite a lot of jobs. You can go into quite a lot of places, because the thing about engineering, once you specialize in something, even though there might not be as many jobs as if you just do engineering, you're going to be highly sought after, because you specialize in something, may have more knowledge than someone who's just coming in. So I would say there's a lot of places you can go into. Even if you're specializing, there's a lot of different workplaces you can fit into.
Okay. Would you say that's the reason that you're going for the masters next year? Otherwise, in opposition to perhaps getting a job straight out of uni, like a graduate job or scheme or something like that? So
originally my plan was to do 4 years. So it was going to be 3 years with a year in industry. Now, I had a job secured for my year in industry, but when COVID came, that got swiped instantly. And then after that, I said, okay, let me do 3 years instead, and let's see if I can get on a graduate placement. But I ended up not getting on a graduate placement. So I said, and I looked at the state of the job market now. I said, I prefer not to go do a menial job and be looking for jobs. I prefer to do 1 more year and specialize in something that interests me. And I looked at my course right now. I said, what interests me? I looked at the job market and said, what job would I be happy doing? Because I don't want to go into a job where I'm unhappy going to work every day. And I said that signals and communications was the job for me, sort of thing. So that's why there's 2 types of communication. There's embedded systems and there's signals communications. So, embedded systems is more like programming, and I'm not really good at that, which is why I went to signals communications instead.
Okay. So next is more about just your student life in general, starting off with engineering and your revision with your assignments and your exams. Like, do you have any unique methods or something that you do that other people may not do in terms of revising for your course?
I would say for the first 2 years, engineering for me was a lot more maths orientated. So a lot of the stuff I would do would include past papers or something. But right now, I do a lot of flashcards. I do a lot of write and cover sort of thing, and I just do a lot of reading. I wouldn't say, other than flashcards and maybe, I wouldn't say I do anything different. But I would say, just as a student, even small things like podcasts or what you watch or what you listen to, try and fill your life with stuff that's related to technology. So when it comes to studying it, you're actually interested in it instead of just treating it like education. You just treat it as a hobby as well, another hobby that you have.
Okay. And would you say there are sufficient facilities in Newcastle to help with engineering? as far as your practical work in the libraries?
I would say yeah, because Newcastle itself is like top for research. So I've never been, or me and my friends have never been short on equipment or tools. I wouldn't say there's anything like negative about that.
Okay. And what are some obstacles you might have encountered with your course? Like, what's the hardest thing you'd say is about your course?
I would say some lecturers are challenging in the least. Like I think there was one or two. Like
state their names, man. We'll sort it out right now.
Tafara and Mo.
Okay.
I don't know if you know them.
Hey man,
not undercover lecturers.
But yeah, there's some of them I couldn't even, to the point where I'll go and look up recap and I couldn't understand what they were saying. I had to ask them to put subtitles on it.
I hear that a lot, you know. Like
it happens.
sometimes you can't understand what a lecturer is saying, and I don't know how to feel about that, man. That's an episode for another day. But blah blah blah.
How'd you get past that?
Past it.
Did they put the subtitles?
No, the subtitles ended up to be like, I thought was saying the subtitles I was reading and I was like, is this actually what this guy is saying?
Oh, so the subtitles.
I think he just put this transcript. I think he just put like a transcript that actually put what it was actually meant to say, because I don't know if it's because they're coming from like a different place, the way they pronounce things or say something makes it kind of hard to understand them. I'll say that's the only barrier, really.
On your lecturers as well, how would you say they are in terms of communication? Because I do hear sometimes you might message them about, for example, I can't understand the lecture. Are they good with response times, advice, help?
So I would say for we'll do it separately. So the first year, I would say we were quite a bigger class. I would say, let's say numbers, this is not accurate, like completely accurate, but say we were 40, 50 a number. So the attention
the whole lecture room?
Yeah.
Just 40 people?
Yeah.
That's mad.
That's quite small,
yeah. So our class was quite, I'm talking about triple E, so electrical and electronic engineering. Obviously for other practices, like electrical and power engineering, they have their own class as well. But for mine particularly, it'll be like 50 to 1 or 40 to 1 lecturer. So usually you get a good response, but during term time before COVID or during now, they'll have like 10 different emails at once. So you just have to bear with them. The response might not always be how you want it to be, but I would say it was all right. Even in lectures, though, if you really wanted to talk to them, you'd have to go and see them outside of it. And I would say year 2 was a bit better because due to a lot of people failing and flopping the course, a lot of people dropped out, switched to different practices. So we had less people, so the attention you got was even better. I would say dropped down to 30, 35. When it came to year 3, because of COVID, I'll say 5 people dropped out because I know their results weren't good. One person got caught for plagiarism. I'm not going to state his name, I don't say governments, but he got caught for plagiarism and he got kicked out the course.
What, like that? Like what? Was it? I swear there's leeway when it comes to plagiarism.
No, because in his case, he was already had 2 retakes. He already had 2 retakes. Okay. So then, because of the plagiarism, he now got done for a 3rd retake and he failed another thing. So that was 4 retakes. And because of...
Wait, when you say 2 retakes, does that mean that he plagiarized twice before?
No. So this was exam-wise. Oh. So because of his performance, and they're saying that, in this particular clause, you're getting a bit too high. They're like, we can't have you, we don't trust you, sort of thing. Oh. So he just got kicked out. Because...
mad. Yeah. So wait, one of his like modules, he was doing well in.
And that was the one he got caught for plagiarism, and every other one, in 3 others, he was failing. So
you're just like, they clocked onto him.
Yeah,
that wasn't convincing at all, bro. If you're listening to this right now,
sorry, bro.
Have you done better, man?
But like in 3rd year, we're all at home. It's a bit better. I have, in terms of my dissertation, I have like weekly calls with my supervisor. That's good, but I'll have a call with him once a week. He'll be like, messaging me, just airs it. I know he sees it. I know you see it. You're probably not watching it, but I know he sees it. I know he sees it, and he just doesn't reply. Then when it comes to the week, he'll be like, "Oh, sorry, I saw your email. How are you doing with that?" I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what's this guy doing, fam?
Is the supervisor? Is he like a lecturer as well? Or is he like?
Yeah, he's a lecturer. So at the time, he's not doing lectures now, so there's no excuse. But before he was, so I could understand. But now he'll be like, "Oh, sorry, send me a message on this." So example, my project's on like electric vehicles that brushes DC motors. Yeah. I'll send him. He'll say, "Oh, sorry, send me an email. Let me see if I can help you with that model." I'll send him an email straight after. 2 days, no reply. 3 days, I check it, no reply. 4 days. Next week, oh sorry, I saw your model. How was it? I'm like, oh, come on.
Okay. So overall, you mentioned the subtitles, responses, and just how you speak to them. Overall, how would you rate your lecturers? Are you happy with it? Are you not happy?
This year, would you say?
Oh,
Or
I was
just
just saying your
overall?
whole experience.
Yeah.
Or is it that night and day different between the years?
No, it's not night and day. I would say it's a 7.7.
Out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10. Yeah, not out of 100. Come on.
And then just to close this part off, what's the hardest and easiest assignment?
I think the hardest one was definitely they locked us in a room, and they.
This is how to
What do you mean they locked you in the room?
lots of the room.
Okay,
Told
so-
them, fix the lights.
Okay, so okay, bad wording on my part, but we did like a in-class test, which was like 1 hour and 45 minutes. They gave us a sheet, a task, and we had to code to solve a particular program. And that was the first time we even saw some of those functions. And we only had 1 hour 45 to do that. I flopped that. I got like 50-something%. It was only 15%, but still, I felt that was my worst. The easiest one, I think it was another programming software, but because of that assignment, I had like a PTSD, so I banned out for this one. So it was like a similar assignment to the first one I got 50% in, and that was the easiest one so far.
Oh, so I guess it's just down to preparation then, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Would you say electrical engineering is a stressful course? Like, how have you felt any pressure from it, or has it been a breeze for you?
I feel like it's not the close. Any stress I felt has been self-inflicted. That it's just down to organisation. You can't really. I wouldn't say this is a course you can cram for, because if you do, you just end up. The stress levels will be too much because there's so much to know, so much to do. Even with my dissertation, I have been on job with that from the start, and I'm still just like on time. So it's just you have to hit every deadline. If you miss one, it will just pile up until it's unbearable. So I'll just say it's time management. Time management is key.
Okay. What advice would you have for the people that are looking into electrical engineering?
I would say look at your other options. Make sure this is what you really want to do, because if you don't want to smoke, then you're in trouble, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say in terms, you have to be planned. You have to get your planning pattern, because my planning in secondary school, I was just on a just vibes thing. And
You thought you could just vibes it.
yeah, especially even A level, I crammed, but my cram was like 2 months, like 2-3 months before, sort of thing. So AS and A level, I had like 2 to 3 months of cramming. So it was still a just vibes thing. But when I hit uni, I was like, no, I need a diary. I need this. So make sure you have like a daily diary. Even now, I have a daily diary. I write at the beginning of the day, say 7 and 8 a.m. I'll wake up, write what I need to do in that day. If I look back, I have to make sure all of those are ticked. Even if like I sleep a bit later, I have to make sure all those are ticked before I move on to the next day. It's just sort of a mental thing. It's sort of a mental thing, because if you start doing that from day one, you will be patterned. Because if you don't write everything down, like how I think some schools had like a planner in secondary school, just have your own one. Like keep yourself accountable, because back then the teachers would care. In uni, the teachers don't. If you fail, you fail.
Yeah. That's the main difference people need to clock about uni and secondary school. Secondary school, teachers are going to be on you. A-level teachers are going to be on you. Uni, your lecturers don't care. They're there to teach you, and that's it. You can go to them for help, and hopefully they do help you, but beyond that, you have to do the work.
Just trying to get that check, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting the bag. Why aren't you?
You said you're doing a dissertation, yeah? Are you able to tell us what your dissertation's about?
So my dissertation is on like electric vehicles. So in most vehicles, you have like motors in them. Before, it used to be like more mechanical. They call them brushed DC motors. And the one they do now is more like on programming. It's brushless. So it requires like when in cars, like when in any operation, they deal with something called phases. And like for mechanical ones, the phases will be smoothed like using a brush, like mechanical, like physically. But in the new ones, it's like it's without a brush. It's kind of with software, so it's more efficient. get faster cars, more efficient motors. Even the ones you see in Formula One, they're not even brushless. They're like completely different. That motors, ever since like the first ones were built back with like those German guys, there's so much innovation in that field. So doing a dissertation in that, for me, there was so much information because like the models that they're doing, the things that they're doing in that field is constantly changing.
So your dissertation now, so what would you say the structure is? Are you curating information and putting it into something, or are you doing your own experiment or making your own thing for it? Like, how are you doing that?
So right now I've picked a random model of a motor used for electric vehicle, and I've simulated it on software, and I look at certain problems in it, and right now I'm figuring out the solutions to that, how to make it more efficient, how to improve the performance of it. So that's just what it's based on.
So, you know, when people do these dissertations, yeah, they're always like figuring out something or someone else hasn't figured out. What happens after you've done that? After you've found these problems, has someone else already found out those problems?
So most of the time, unless like you're like a different level genius, someone has already done it before. It's just about putting your own twist on it. And I've seen people that get really high grades, people that get first, but they obviously they put in the work, but the thing that they came up with, it's not something different, or it's already been done.
They played it safe.
Sort of thing. Not even they played it safe, but you could play it safe, but the work you have to put in is still a lot, sort of thing. So you have to explain every single step. So I'm in a group where I'm doing electric vehicle, but some people are doing bicycle. So they'll just have to build and simulate something for a bicycle, but the work they have to do, and they have to do way more simulation than me, because what they're doing is still limited. So it's not about the conclusion you get to. It's just about how much work you do and how much effort you put in, because it's split into two parts. There's like a presentation, and there's presentation with a poster. So the poster is 15%, the presentation is 20%, and then the other, I think 65 or 75% is on the technical report, and that's where you write all your research, everything. So it's just about the work you put in.
Okay. And what would you say is the most useful thing you've learned from your course? Using your day-to-day, or you're planning to use maybe when you get a car, broken phone.
Probably just planning, keeping on top of everything. I don't know why I said broken phone. Apologies.
I mean, if you can learn how to fix your phone, that's some useful stuff. What you're saying?
I don't think it would teach me to fix. If I try and fix my iPhone, I'll probably get electrocuted. But I don't think my course teaches me that. But it's mostly planning, time management, a lot of stuff that will probably help me in the workspace. Because if I went into the workplace after 11, I'll probably get eaten alive.
So there's no electrical appliance you can fix because like your course gave you the ability or knowledge on how to.
I think I could try to fix. Even they was giving me the knowledge, I still have to practice doing that. Like I'm not gonna jump and start trying to fix my iPhone now. I'm gonna get finished by the insurance company.
I just imagine.
I mean, I can try on yours. It's not a problem. Okay.
But yeah, I just imagine like people that do like certain courses. Like, surely you use this in your spare time. Like, if you're a mechanical engineer, you need to know how to fix your car. Like, should you?
Yeah, but you don't just jump into that. That's why work experience is so important. That even though you've learned everything, you still have to go and apply it. And no one's Einstein. No one's Einstein. No one's just gonna apply it and it's gonna bang straight away. You have to gain experience in it.
Yeah, like someone that jumps out of GCSEs or A levels and does 3 years as a mechanic in a workshop, 3 years straight, is going to know how to take care of a car much better than a 3-year mechanical engineering graduate.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like the degrees themselves don't necessarily focus in on one particular thing and then give you the skills to only do that thing. After you leave uni. Like Azaro said, he was opened up to different aspects of electric and electronic engineering, which is how he's able to find telecommunications. Yeah. If they had been so focused on telecommunications from the get-go, then he might be able to step out and then do a decent job, not a bang-up job, because still you need experience and you need to work at it, but he'd be able to do like a decent job at fixing a network or something like that, But obviously, because they're trying to give him a little bit of everything in that niche of a subject, it gives him time to be like, okay, I like this, I like that, don't like that, cool, I'll leave that. And then when he steps onto the workplace, he can build on those skills from the jump and actually do a good job. not your make believe reality world of, oh, you do engineering, you must be able to.
No,
fix
honestly,
that.
if he wants me to start fixing phones, I'll start with his.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I
No?
appreciate that. Alright, just to close it off then, what are some of your wins, some of your losses, and the lessons you've learned being at university?
Wins, probably my grades, I guess, my course. I mean, I came to uni for my course, unlike some people.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to let that know. But yeah, I'm saying my wins.
Don't let him at you like that on the podcast.
He's not
I'm
at
talking
me.
about you,
This is
Taff.
okay.
Tafaro, the owner of the
Nice try,
podcast.
nice
Yes,
try.
yes, well done.
Why is it always me?
But yeah, my grades, obviously technical knowledge as well. I would say the work experience I gained was mostly outside of uni. Obviously, I've done a lot of hand-on stuff in projects, and that was good. But I would say the pluses was mostly time management. Obviously, work. It was obviously more exam study based. Negatives. Any exam I failed, to be honest. Any weird people I met. Sorry to be rude, but some of you people in Newcastle are weird, straight up. And honestly, like, I think my friend on my course was telling me, one guy on the course, because we all have our friendship groups, right? One guy on the course was trying to get in our friendship group, so he followed him to the library, like, just to study with him. But when he was in the library, he just started cussing him the whole time, like, for no reason.
The guy who followed him then?
Yeah, the guy who followed him, just cussing him all the time. Oh, you don't know anything. This is why I'm not in your group chat. I was like, oh my god, like, this people here is just so weird.
Oh gosh. And then a lesson.
Not for, this is not specifically for me, but this is just for anybody coming to Newcastle or anybody still here. I would say, don't come to uni looking for girls or chasing after girls. I would say.
That's it.
You say that. All right. That's lovely.
That's a lovely way to send off.
Yeah, thank you.
And this has been Sliders Podcast. Thank you, Zaru, for coming. I would like to plug your music as well. Zaru, we were talking about the education thing, but hopefully we can have him here on a different episode talking about the music, because you have 2 songs out right now.
Hey man, yeah.
And Butterflies as well.
Yeah.
Stream that. Ignore this guy out. I'm out here trying to uplift the people and you're here clowning about.
What is wrong with you?
But yeah, like I said, this has been Sliders Podcast. Patreon, Miami, you know the drill. And if you don't know, there's a link in the bio. I've been your host, who's Taff. I found out about Zara today. My co-host.
Mo. And
Adios.
make sure to follow us on Instagram at SlidersPod. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it to friends.
Forget all that. Follow me on Insta, ZARUIAM. Peace.
We're gonna cut that.
Yeah, we're going to get that.
But yeah, man, we're out.
Sliding out.